God, you let me in so we can fill this hole between us. I know that I've been wrong, but I know where I belong, and I'm a fly between the moons of Venus. Ooh, prepare your ship for docking. My probe is set for interlocking between the cheeks of love. Probe is set for interlocking between the cheeks of love. Cheeks of love. As I look into your eye, it's as brown as chocolate pie, stanky sweet like in November. I know we've had too much
Okay, what's up, everybody? This is the Another Light album premiere from Red Fox.
Box. I thought it was Box.
Box. Sorry, Box. And we'll be renting movies to everyone in the audience after we're done. We've worked on this album for a while.
Year and a half now?
Almost a year and a half. We have the full band here. It's been, delayed. We've had stuff that we had to do. We had a song that happened almost when we were done. So yeah, it's been a little while, but at least we can say it came out in 2017.
Yeah.
And
I'm really proud of it. Vin's really proud of it. We're all guys proud of it. Right?
Very proud.
All right.
Very proud.
We hope you enjoy it. It's our pleasure to present Another Light. Roll it.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an...
Now I know what you're thinking. How could we create such a masterpiece?
I'm in tears, and I mean we haven't even listened. Like that's not even the first track.
Mike, I don't think you're actually you're on.
Oh, I wasn't on that entire time.
No.
So everything that I said was not audible?
Nope.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. Well, it doesn't matter. Mike tried to, he tried to tell you guys.
My chat members will find this problem very familiar. I said a bunch of stuff to you guys, but you couldn't hear it.
That's okay.
Who's surprised?
It was just a build up to Smash Mouth. I know you really want the actual album, and well, it's not Blood Bagel, so we can't actually continue. We can't continue trolling you with songs like Vomit in the Ball Pit, but instead, for real, Another Light. Finally, enjoy.
Define the rules, bias to your mind. Don't give in to cheap imitation. Change the scene to a better life. We need it more than you'll ever know. If you ever frame your mind and see it all in another life. If you ever frame your mind and see it all in another life. watching, I've been waiting, I've been ready. Won't you tell me? Maybe I've been watching, I've been waiting, I've been patient. Won't you tell me? Maybe tell me. Tell me what I need to know. I want you to help I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you. If you're happy, then I guess I'm happy for you. You're so funny, and they love everything that you do. And since you're happy, you could never be blue. It's alright. It's not real. You're doing fine. It's no big deal. It's alright. It's not real. You're doing fine. 'Cause you got everything you want, but I'm overdue. Onto the cold hard floor, shaking me to the core. What tried, but I never came through. I wish I was happy for you. I'm so sad 'cause I never ever really had the right to be. And I'm so sad 'cause I never wanna know just what you think of me. I'm so sad that I'm ranting and raving at an empty wall. And I'm so sad 'cause the way to lift myself up is to see you fall. Cause I never Your star is bright and glowing. You had so much to show me. No matter where you're going, your star is bright and glowing. The less you say, the more you show, you show, you show, you show, you show. The less you show, the more you disappear. A part of you is all we know, we know, we know, we know, we know. A part of you is in the atmosphere. You got a message from the stars, the stars, the stars, the stars, the stars. A transmission through the stratosphere. Was it a daydream born on Mars, on Mars, on Mars, on Mars, on Mars? A sound or vision from a future year? Your star is bright and glowing. You had so much to show me. No matter where you're going, your star is bright and glowing. Felt like an ocean from the one, the one, the one, the one, the Lost a lot of time in the land of the drought, chasing down a fear that I could not live without. Couldn't live without. Desert's gone cold in the darker night. Look into the distance, I can see a bit of light. Is it light? I'm heading on back to Reno. Heading on back to Reno. All the way, all the way. that you feel so empty. Broken bottles and junk on the floor. It's hard to notice when your eyes on the score. If you burn a picture to obtain the ashes, a bit of wind could blow what's left away. You could leave your heart at the door. You could waste all your time wanting more. You could play a victim to a broken mirror. You could sell yourself for a dime. Step on anyone who borrows your time. You could be a hero to your own reflection. You could feed your head with empty praise. If you burn a picture to obtain the ashes, you resign to throw yourself away. There's another light. There's another light. There's another light. There's another There's another light. There's another There's another light. There's another There's another light.
All right, that is the album, and I just realized I'm chewing gum, which is very bad etiquette for speaking in this capacity. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Apparently, there's a poll favorite track. Well, I think it's available now. Before we do the Q&A and everything, I just want to thank everybody for giving it a chance. We're not. No. Up. No, it's on.
Just it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for sitting and hanging out with us tonight and checking this thing out. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And again, the album is going to be available like that was 192 bitrate. We're going to have it in full bitrate extremely soon. In fact, I think you get an instant download. Redvoxband.com has all the merch, and there's a bundle, and there's everything. There's a bundle. We're doing a reprint of the first album, and everything you need is on that website. But it'll be on Spotify real soon. It's going to be on Bandcamp, I think, hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, if you want to listen again, that's how you do it. So I want to thank Zach too. Zach has been helping us out. Zach is someone that was recommended to me by Stevie from Chicago, who does the Red Vox Band website. And Zach has really just helped me get all this going. So if you're listening, Zach, thanks. All right.
Thanks, Zach.
So now Google Play Music and all that. Well, we're going to do a Q&A and we get to talk about everything if you want. But yeah, it should be on everything soon enough. It's going to be on... you broke the site already? Good job, guys.
Nice.
Not yet. No, it's still going. But yeah, so remember though, the albums, like the CD, the physical stuff, isn't going to be out until like late December, early January, because production around the holidays sucks. We're also going to do a vinyl, which should be out if we do that. It's months we're talking, but that's different. That's a different
Can
story.
this double as our Christmas gift to them, so we don't have to like buy like an actual Christmas gift?
Yeah, I don't want to buy 2,000 people an actual
Let's
gift.
just say this is our gift to you guys. Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
So, Merry Christmas. But yeah, vinyl will happen eventually. So again, just really quick, thank you for giving the music a shot. I see a lot of people that have never heard the band before, and we're really proud of it, like I said. So, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for just giving it a chance. Very cool.
This poll is very interesting to me. I'm going to start with the poll before we do a Q&A, okay? And someone posted a poll in the chat, what's your favorite Another Light track? And you guys put Forgive and Forget as your favorite? What?
Wow.
That's great.
It's a cool song.
I mean, I love the song. I didn't expect it. But, geez. Interesting. Well, I mean, that's first listen. And
Maybe it's because like that's one of the last songs they heard before the poll went out, so they they were all like high on it, so they picked that one.
Maybe. Well, regardless, I'm glad that you guys liked that one, because that one was, it didn't. We didn't know if it was going to be on the album at first, and then it turned out to be really good. Joe
We had a lot of fun recording that one too.
Yeah, and Joe mixed the fuck out of it in the best possible way. He mixed that bitch nice, just like the rest of the album. So thank you. Just real quick. So Joe played bass on the album.
Yeah,
He's
let's
here.
introduce him. This is Joe, our producer and multi-instrumentalist, very talented man. He's also quite beautiful. Say hello.
Hello.
That
Bill.
Hi, guys. Thank you for all the support. Looking at the comments right now, showing a lot of love, and means a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'm gonna promote Joe and Bill. I'm gonna say that they make great music, and I'm gonna have some links eventually that you can get to them. But there's some, they've done a lot of great stuff, and thank God we ended up working together more closely for this album. You can tell, like, it really paid off.
We're like, and it's maybe corny, but I feel like we're blessed to have found each other at like when we did at the time in our life.
We blessed.
We blessed, yo.
But I'll tell you what, I've known Bill since high school. I've known Mike since college, and I've known Joe since 2 years ago. Well, I've known Joe for a little while, but we met like just randomly. But
Just the serendipity, I guess, of all the things falling into place, all the elements being there at the right time.
yeah,
Like all of us being able to do it at this point in our lives and everything, and
having
stuff.
the ability, the financial ability to make it, and I mean everything about this really worked out.
and having you guys to make it possible, which again, thanks. I mean, this thing's a dream for us.
Well, without this sounding like a sappy kind of thing, really genuinely, the fact that you guys liked the first album so much, and the fact that
I'll be sappy. I don't give a
you had so many nice things to say about the music is why we spent so long working on Another Light. It definitely inspired me to do the best I could, and I know it felt that way for everybody. Bill stepped his game up, because the first album he was on a couple songs. This album he was very much like a part of the arranging and the recording. And you can tell when you hear this thing in headphones, when you download it or when you listen to it, really pay attention to the keyboards. They're great.
Awesome.
And Bill wrote a lot of those parts.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
So-
they were like more like I want like hired hands on the first album. This is a band now.
Yeah.
This is a band sitting here.
So I'll say that, We all did different things, but also Joe, there's a lot of your touch melodically and rhythmically on the album as well. Like this is definitely like there are many days over the past year and a half where it was just me and Joe together in the studio just figuring shit out. And thank God we had the ability to do that and just work stuff out. So Joe is a huge part of this too. And of course, you heard Mike's drumming. And not just drumming, but also lyrically, he contributed a lot, and conceptually, and finally, like kind of just bringing the ideas together. It's important to have people to bounce ideas off of and to figure out how to get these songs to work. And we did a lot of this. Some of this I did at home, like Burn a Picture I did at home. And then we worked on in the studio. Forgive and Forget was the same thing. But in the studio, when we're all together, we're able to jam and we're able to figure the songs out.
Well, in the garden, you kind of just came in one day and you were like, check this out. And
Actually,
we kind of shit our pants.
Actually, no. I brought in a little melody to Joe.
Oh, okay.
And then Joe and I
Well,
came
I wasn't
up,
there. That's what happened.
You weren't there that day.
Not the initial. Right, okay.
But Joe and I came up with the melody and the verse and the chorus together, playing it on guitar. And then I remember Joe said to me, I was like, Joe, I had an idea for the end with like synthesizer. And Joe was like, maybe if you just take out like as much guitar as you can and just do as much of it as synth. So I went home, I did the synth, and In the Garden became a completely different song. So yeah, it was huge that we did that. Anyway, questions?
I also want to say I feel like I act like a father figure to everybody during this process.
Oh, is Mike? That's the father
I
figure.
feel like I didn't get that. I was waiting for you to say that, and then you didn't.
I've got a 3D fidget spinner here for you, Mike.
A lot of them know what that is too. So that's perfect.
It's a red fidget spinner. Anyway, no, but if you guys have any questions, live shows we're not thinking about just yet. Sorry.
Soon, kinda ish, not really.
Let's see. We're working on we're gonna work on this bonus song for the vinyl.
Yeah, we got a couple more things we want to pound out.
The bonus song is gonna be like 8 to 9 minutes.
It's gonna be a journey of a song. So you want to start?
They know what the spinner is actually.
They do know about the spinner. Yeah, a number of them were there in real time.
Let's do favorite song for each of us. My favorite on the album? I'll start is. I think Memories Lie turned out to be my favorite, but for a little while it was Another Light, the opening track, just because it was like a good opener that I'm proud of. But I'd say Memories Lie. Mike?
I mean, it's easy. It's Tell Me. As you know, we told them earlier.
We told them that it was Tell Me.
We told them. Yeah, I don't know. I relate to all the songs, obviously, but that one, I feel that one. You know, I just as you know, despite like having been such a part of it and everything, that one just that one means a lot to me, and I think it came out sounding great as well. And man, that mandolin, he comes in with the mandolin one day, and I'm like, what are you doing with that? Like, I never seen him with one before. I had no idea that he was gonna know how to play it or anything, and he just started busting out tracks.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard.
I mean, he was like, oh, it's not a big deal because it's a stringed instrument. I play stringed instruments and everything, but I mean, he was wailing on this in a matter of minutes. It was pretty impressive.
So there's mandolin in Memento Mori, Forgive and Forget, and the beginning of Tell Me. So I think it really actually was a nice texture to have.
It was awesome. Joe, your favorite?
I don't know. I think probably. I think two. There's two of them. I think it would be Settle for Less and Forgive and Forget. Strictly just for, I don't know. I really enjoyed like mixing them, and on Settle for Less, I really enjoyed playing on it. I mean, I enjoy the whole album. I think it's great, and I had a fun time working on it. But those would probably be my two. How about you, Bill?
Ever since we got the first bounce down to figure out what the track order would probably be Memento Mori. Memento Mori has an amazing arrangement that you guys put together. Gave me a lot of room to experiment. I remember there was one time, one of the comments for a video, someone asked if there was going to be either accordion or stylophone on the new album, and that's why I snuck in stylophone on one of the on the breakdown. But on a mixing standpoint, I think it's extremely well balanced. There's a lot of great parts, and it was just amazing how I was just very satisfied to see how we blended everything together because there was a lot going on in there, and I felt like it was very tastefully mixed.
Someone had a question. I want to say. I thought it was what was difficult about this album. What were some of the challenges? Because there were plenty.
For all of us? No, I mean,
Do you have a?
As a producer, what did you feel was difficult? Because it was a year and a half almost. I mean, and we snuck Blood Bagel in between.
It was an emotional journey. I'll say that. It was great though. I honestly I thought it was a really great experience. A good thing about working with Vin is that Vin is really fastidious. So, you know,
what'd you just call him?
so that's really cool. It's good to have that kind of not pressure, but kind of like the a person wanting it to be, you know, keep working, keep doing it, and keep making it, you know, what it is. And I thought that was a great experience. So whereas that would be hard, I thought it was also very rewarding because at the end of it was something that was really great and that I feel really proud to have worked on.
I think yeah, no, it was definitely a tough thing because I definitely got a little too perfectionist at times.
We all did.
But that's good. I think that's a good thing. I think especially for, you know, for what came out. I think that was great.
Well, we had an original projected release of early summer, like late spring, right? But
you know, in Australia, it's
yeah.
summer now. So
well, we did
There
it.
you go. There's Australian fans here. Yeah.
But it was you know, it was sometimes it was difficult because I just like, you know, we've been going for like 2 years straight and my faucet was closed for like 5 years. I didn't write anything for like 5 years. I just did streaming, and then eventually what happened was when we went back in to do What Could Go Wrong, it was just like 2 years of constant recording and writing, and I'm gotta be honest, it was a little much. It was a little draining. I'm happy that we're done now, but we're still working on this one last song. But yeah, it was tough. And another thing that was tough is, how would you feel about Fantano reviewing an album? You were
don't ask me
terrified.
that.
Terrified, but I think he would you know, who knows, he likes King Gizzard. I'll say this about what was difficult. Levels of like little things piss me off. I get very specific about how I want things, and I can be a bit of a dictator sometimes in the studio. Slight, maybe not as much as some other like frontmen, but I definitely have my moments, and I really wanted it to be perfect, and everyone was fucking on point.
I mean, he says that, but like I've been in other bands where like I as a drummer got absolutely tortured by like some of the
Pull back a little.
bits too. Sound
A
like
little
shit.
poppy a little bit.
Whoops, sorry.
You can go up like another inch. Good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Comparatively, I mean, he's a total pleasure to work with. The amount of like creative freedom that I get as a drummer is like the most that I've ever had in any musical experience. He and I were in a band together. That was my first band. I'd played with him and I loved it. And every band I was in since then never felt as right as when I played with him. Sorry if I'm being
Thank you, Mike.
sappy. But
No,
that's,
it's okay.
That's the truth.
It's, yeah,
And-
I feel the
and,
same way.
mean, now you know we're doing this together again after all those less than wonderful experiences musically, and it just feels like it's what I'm supposed to be doing, and I love it. I love being in a band with you. I love being in a band with you guys too.
Yeah,
I'll sap it
it's
up.
true. It's
Let's
true.
sap it up. Let's do it.
Well, I'll say this. I think it was worth every moment of whatever sucked to get
Yeah,
to a good point.
There were hard moments. We tortured Joe with certain things. I'm sorry. I don't know how you could still stand. to
Joe,
be
raise the
around me
vocals
at the end of this.
3%. Okay, now bring them back 5%. There's a pop, Joe. I don't hear
Joe,
the
I
pop.
don't like
then.
how the bass drum sounds over here, Joe. Joe, can you nudge this? Can you nudge that?
One of the greatest things was just like trying to explain to Joe different visions very abstractly. Like, oh, make this wetter or make this sound a little bit more blue. And Joe's just getting like, what the hell are you guys talking
Make it
about?
more tasty. Make it
Yeah.
tastier.
Joe has a very big hatred to food analogies to music. So we tried to curb that, but it it always helped to do that.
Someone mentioned about singing, and I just want to let you know I have not had. The person asked, "Did you have any training?" And no, I've not had any vocal training. I'm not that great, but I'll tell you this: I worked hard, and if I had to come in, like one day it would suck, the next day it would be a little better, then the next week it would be a little better, and then after that it would be like, okay, that's the take. But then there's all kinds of studio fuckery, like me redoing lines, as you do. You would do like a full take, and it would be cool except for like a couple lines, so I'd have to do those words over. Cherry cola. But yeah, no, it definitely was a lot of work. I don't sing live a lot, and I don't sing a lot, period. What?
Sorry, the feta cheese tang. I thought that was funny.
Okay. Thought I heard a crackle in the first second. In one of the transitions, there was a couple crackles because I was using my media player was crackling them up a little bit. It should be good though. We hunted pretty quick. Vinny, did you get any inspirations from Tame Impala? Album art is very reminiscent of Currents. Yeah. Quick thing. We went through a number of different covers, but this one just seemed to work the best. And the idea of it is, the Vox circles from the logo, like they're like kind of like the sound waves. Those are the sound waves. So, it's kind of like facing change. I don't know. I mean, you figure it out.
Continuing a theme that we had going from the first album. And it really, out of all the art that we got, and we had commissioned some incredible pieces, and you're going to see a lot of it in the lyrics booklet that's going to come with your albums. But this piece felt like it represented the contents of the album the most, if that makes sense. It's you're talking about an abstract thing here, so it's hard to really verbalize it, but I mean, the more I think you guys listen to this thing, and the more you internalize these lyrics, the more you're going to agree that what you're looking at in this image is appropriate for this music.
Yeah, and of course it looks a little bit like Currents. That was a discussion for sure, but I'm glad that we chose it because it definitely evokes a feeling, and with the shadow against the light, it just works really nicely. So I'm really happy with it. Why the change in the track list from the initial Twitter post? That was a last minute thing.
That was very late.
I'm not going to explain any of the stories of what the songs mean or anything like that, but I can tell you that there is a bit of a narrative of the whole album, or a theme at least, and I felt like From the Stars works better after Memento Mori for at least 3 or 4 reasons. And I also felt like Forgive and Forget being this big culmination of things, if you listen to the lyrics, it's like learned things, right? And then that goes into the last song. So it works better for me, but I'm glad that we did it because I probably would have regretted it. Here's a true story. I regret not having Atom Bomb as the first song on our first album. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to have a similar regret.
Yeah, the track listing is deliberate, and we changed it for reasons that we won't get into. But I think if you listen to it and you take the time, you have the lyrics, and you listen to them, and then you try to look at them in another light. Oh, he did the thing a couple of different times. You might kind of crack the code of what we're trying to do there. But we feel like we don't want to directly say what we think that the songs are about, because that's kind of takes away your license to interpret it the way that you choose. That's correct. Yeah, I wouldn't want to tell you, but I mean, some of them are a little bit more self-evident than others. Right. So, have at it. There was a question about which song delayed the album. That's the one. It was Memories Lie. Mm-hmm. And you can hear it. It's a bit of a complex one. It's got 3 parts. Each part has layers. I mean, it was a motherfucker to record. You want to talk about challenges? That one was a challenge because it just was 3 different parts. How do you get 3 different parts to sound well together, sound good together? And I think we did it, but it took a lot of different like Bill. When we get Bill in, sometimes we're like, Bill, what do you got? What kind of sounds do you have? And Bill brings in his keyboard,
brings in a synthesizer, and then we mess around. And we'll have like tracks that are not used. Like there's like some songs that have like 3 or 4 tracks that aren't used. And then Joe, I kind of defer to Joe on a lot of things too. Like I trust his opinion. So it's like, what do you think of this texture? A little poopy. And then we don't do it. But Joe's got a lot of interesting sounds too. And Joe's really good at guitar tones. So we have this big collection of pedals and stuff on the computer. We could just experiment for hours. And that's why that song took so long.
Go in there and mess around and have fun. It's how most of the songs are born. We'll just be sitting there jamming, and then it's like, oh wait, what's that?
A lot of crappy gear too. It's a lot of crappy gear pushed to its limit though too. There's a lot of like just sending shit through like really crappy
tape decks
and whatever just to get like a texture, or like reamping things, you know, a couple of times just to I don't know, just to find something interesting.
How about the amp that I use for practice that like burns out once every like 3 weeks that you have to replace the transistor for?
Oh yeah.
It's a good one. What is that? A twin reverb Fender?
No, it's a
Music Man?
Deluxe. Oh no, that's different. We use that for the bass. It's a just a
Fender
Fender
Twin
Hot Rod Deluxe.
Okay. Yeah, that one's good because it just it breaks. It breaks often. Joel had a good question.
Sure.
Any songs that didn't make the cut? We had a lot, right?
Doctor song.
What's up, Joel? How many?
We have like 4 or 5. So there's a song about there's a bongo related song.
Right, yeah.
There's this.
We bought bongos and then didn't record the song.
Yeah.
We were like, we want to do a bongo part for this one. And then we bought them, and they're sitting there right now. We've done absolutely nothing with them.
Summer Dreams was one. There's a song about the bongo song. It didn't have a name. There's a song about like a doctor song that we were gonna do, and then just tons of ideas.
Dr. Feel Bad. We were gonna do a song called Dr. Feel Bad.
There's a song called Patiently Undone that I had that I liked, that I really thought about doing. I have a pretty decent demo of it, but
You gave demos
yeah.
of it was between Forgive and Forget or something else that you were working on with Fruity Loops, but I wasn't really too sure. I remember there were 2 that we were trying to decide on.
I think it was either Summer Dreams or
Ruminator's on something.
Oh, Ruminator. Yeah, Ruminator I ended up putting out on at the beginning of the year on Room to Breathe.
Right.
So yeah, Ruminator was potential for this thing.
Yeah, we were thinking about that one. But we'll go back to all these tracks eventually. It's just when we're picking songs that we're gonna put, songs that we'd been working on or ideas that we had, we like to ask ourselves if they fit with the rest of the material.
Yeah.
And the ones that you're hearing are the ones where we felt that they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple of songs that were written during this period that did not make it onto the album, to answer the question. Yeah.
I want to mention a quick thing about how this album was originally called Settle for Less.
Yes.
And we had a kind of a different idea. Like my idea of the direction of this album at first was based on the song Settle for Less and like Reno. And it was going to be kind of like a darker, more like grounded album, like When the Levee Breaks type shit. Mm-hmm. And then Tell Me was accidentally written in the studio. I don't know, just kind of happened. A couple other things happened. And then it started going in a more like ethereal direction.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I can blame on Moonshaped Pool, the Radiohead album that came out, but it definitely put me in a somber kind of headspace for a couple of things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had this idea. I guess I don't remember how it came about, but Another Light didn't have a song, didn't have anything, and I was like, man, I'd love to use that as a title for something. And then I remembered that I had a riff, and I said to myself, that riff. What if I expand upon that riff?
Right.
And then I was like, well, wait a minute. That's the Another Light song. So I showed you the song. You know, everyone was like, yeah, this is cool. Mm. And then I remember after a little while, like some of the songs started forming. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I think the album is going to be called Another Light and not Settle for Less. And I think I told you, Joe, and you were like, that's cool. That's fine. You know, see where it goes. And then Mike came into the studio a week later. We had not spoken about this.
Crazy.
And he said, Vin, I think the name of this album is Another Light. Totally independent of each other.
He looks at me and he's like, yo. And I looked at him and I was like, yo. And then he looked back to him and went, yo.
And then I went, I'm a floating brain.
But it was nuts because we both came to this conclusion independently, and it was just the way that I don't know. I don't know if is it supernatural? Is that corny to say like something supernatural is a play?
No, well, hang on. Someone asked a question about dreams, and I want to talk about that too, real quick.
That ties into it.
One person said "Settle for Less" is depressing as a theme, as a title, and I agree. Another Light is a very positive. That's the theme of the album, is trying to look at things in another light, in a sense. That's one of the themes, but it's a positive thing. You know, I mean, I write fairly depressing sounding music most of the time, but I wanted to I really wanted to work with this idea of the positivity and optimism, for sure,
because we need it.
Yeah, we fucking need it.
And
I need it.
Yeah, I mean I do, but you know, I mean we grew a lot as musicians, but I think like as people, and we learned a lot of things. Would you still have a question you wanted to answer?
Well,
just how we've improved from the first album.
That's like
thank you for saying we've improved.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot more than we became like more proficient with our instruments or what have you. I think we learned a lot about the recording process since then. Like
yeah.
What works, what doesn't work, what what we want, and how to get what we want. Obviously, none of which would have been possible without Joe here.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, guiding us and all that stuff. But
I would bring demos to Joe, and I would be very stubborn about how I wanted them to sound, and then we would end up making them sound better in the studio. But some of the demo stuff is still on the album. Like Burn a Picture, I recorded like the guitar at home. I think everything else, just about everything else, was done in the studio. So, but you know, when a track is so good, you capture the mood of it. You don't want to ruin it. The solo in Forgive and Forget, that was a one-take thing I did at home. I didn't want to do it again because the mood was perfect. So we just used that. Which has happened on like on that REM album I've been talking about, Automatic for the People. They used some of their demo stuff and they even said in the documentary it just captured the feel of like for like one or two songs, it just captured where they were in that moment. And if you don't have to recreate it, the way I'm looking at it now, like just leave it as best it can be. But anyway, Joe, you saw a question?
Yeah, somebody was asking about that it sounded more dynamic than the last album. That the last album was a little bit more compressed and more modern-y or whatever. And yeah, yes, absolutely, because I love compression. And with everything that I do, if I can't overdo it first, like my way to like get to something is to overdo something until I get to the point where it's like, oh, that's too much, and then figure out the things that I liked about the overdone stuff and use that, and then take the stuff that I didn't like and throw it away. So that's why that one, because that was, what was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years.
So that was 2 years ago, and since then I've produced like, I don't know, another 20 something bands or something in between there, and in that was a growth process of understanding that, I don't know, just I like to throw a whole lot of stuff against the wall and see what happens.
Maybe we could say that this album was like what could go right.
Signing off.
Joe,
get out of your own house.
Joe, you did a great job. The dynamics are palpable, as I said earlier. Palpatine.
Senator Palpable.
Yeah, and it's I love the mixing on this album so much, especially on Memento. But everything came out great, and I was really like, we did so many mixes of Another Light because I wanted it a certain way, and I was being a dick.
Oh, one other thing. Go. Somebody about a half hour or 45 minutes ago said, congratulations on the kid. Thank you.
That's right. Congrats, Joe.
I had a kid.
That was
he gave birth to it through himself.
Yeah.
Oh.
We kind of
had a good week in the news, actually. That's trending. That's not
okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
We kind of, Joe went through like a big experience and like a lot of personal change through this album and professional growth. And I think we all went through some shit making this album, and I think it's all there. It's in the album.
It is. It's a lot of like who we are.
Yeah.
Is in there. A lot of what we were feeling while it was going on is in there. And I mean, we did something here that I feel like we achieved this, because when we were when we were writing these lyrics and stuff, we were coming up with the concepts for these songs. We were able to be honest, like, to ourselves and say, like, we're gonna write about things that are important to us and that we believe in and feel like us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we were in the unique position where, like, we knew like who we were writing like this music for. And I mean, don't you know, when I mean, for my part, you know, when I was working on lyrics and stuff, I was thinking about you guys. Like, I mean there's times when it was easy to do both, is what I'm saying, because like I'll see one of you say something like on Twitter or whatever, and I'm like, man, if that's not an exact thing that went through my head or that I've said at one point in my life, or maybe yesterday even, you know, and it's like I knew who was going to be hearing it, and it made it easier. I don't know, I'm saying our similarities is what enabled us to do both things. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense what I said?
Sure. I disagree slightly on my part, because I didn't feel like, if I was writing these songs, like the ones that I worked on lyrically, for like a reason, or like for other people, they wouldn't be honest.
Sure.
I had to write for me and what I went through and what I go through. But I also, you know, I see what's going on. I see what's going on, you know, I mean, obviously it's a fucking crazy connection we have with everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
So
And it wasn't hard to do both.
It seeped in. Like, I didn't try specifically to write for other people. I wrote for me. But no matter what, my experiences online and in life absolutely influenced where we're at. Now, I don't want this to seem like a high and mighty kind of thing. Honestly, it was just, this is a hobby. We love it. I enjoy playing music with these guys. I love writing songs, and this was a really, really good thing for all of us. And I'm just so happy it's out. I'm not trying to like say like this was some kind of like legendary thing for us, but for me it was a personal growth that I'm glad we reached this level of improvement over the first album. Someone mentioned something about dreams earlier, and I want to say that about half of the songs had a riff that came from dreams. I want to tell you which ones real quick. From the Stars, Rub Your Eyes, In the Garden, those three in particular started as dreams, and then a couple other ones, lyrics or ideas, came from the dreams. So yeah, those are the ones that mainly came from a dream. And someone asked about my lyric like process. It was just go for a walk at night, just go for a walk, bring a notebook, talk into my phone, and really just like not write if I wasn't feeling it.
Vinny, are you a fan of David Lynch?
Yeah.
All right. The name of the band came from a dream. Yeah.
That's right.
And a number of the like the lead melodies and stuff.
That's cool.
What, Joe?
The album sounded at some parts reminiscent of The Who's discography.
The Who. Oh.
That's a good compliment. Yeah. Yeah. Don't think that they were like a small influence. Not to me anyway.
They were like a very important band for me.
Yeah, so that would be weird if that didn't come through, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Tommy's a huge album for me. I'll say this, I'm so happy I say has a couple Who. Da-na-na.
Yeah.
You know, it's got them
Great.
da-na-nas.
It's great.
So yeah, The Who is a huge thing. Also, just another quick thing. Someone said there was a really good, what was the hardest song to make? I think for me it was I don't remember if From the Stars was difficult. It was difficult translating that from the dream, but I'd still say Memories Lie was probably the one I was like, because we had 12 songs already. I was done. I didn't want to continue. I just wanted to get the album out, but I knew the song was good. Everyone liked it. I was like, we got to do this. I can't half-ass this now.
We were at 12 songs, and it's like, well, that's like the kind of like the standard for an album. It was like 13.
Yeah.
Whatever. Who cares?
We did 13 by accident 2 times in a row.
Oh well.
Bill, I have a question for you. Okay.
Hello.
Who are you influence?
Who are my influences?
Who you influence?
I think Pink Floyd's the obvious one. You hear it a lot. You hear like a lot of Rick Wright influence on the album. my biggest ones though are Ben Folds with piano. At a time back when we were jamming a lot, back 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
I was gravitating more towards guitar. Once I started getting into Ben Folds, started seeing what you could actually do on the piano, and it was and Joe and I actually went to a concert last month, and it kind of just recertified that inspiration. Other big things are Prince.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to get a lot of negative feedback for that one, but Prince is a huge influence
That's
for me.
okay. I think Prince is pretty well.
And very, very, very. I have to really be strict about this. Early Weezer, nothing
Past
recent, but like
Pinkerton
the first
or Green.
Actually, Maladroit is a really, really great album. But yeah, those are my big ones, and of course the Beatles. Like the Beatles, I don't even really mention because I mean I think that's more
Yeah, it's
universal.
all of us.
And you could hear that a lot on this album as well.
Settle for Less has a bit of a Beatley bass line, which someone said Settle sounded a bit like the best parts of Oasis, and I was like, that's a nice compliment.
And of course, Smash Mouth too. Yeah.
Of course. And I have one more question for you. What was your favorite like part that you did on the album? Because I have one that you did. I think your clav on Reno is my favorite.
That was a lot of fun. You helped me out with that a lot too.
Joe did too.
I remember, yeah, Joe. Like during the chorus, I remember you had a vision that you wanted, and like we spent a lot of time on it, and I couldn't be more happier with the outcome. But I think my favorite moment in the entire album, I mentioned before that Memento Mori was my favorite thing, and while we were listening back to it tonight, I brought it up that the high point of your guitar mixed with I go up into the higher register during the guitar solo of Memento Mori, and it just opens up the song completely, and it just gives it this brighter tone, and it's one of the high points of the album for me. That and the vocoder part in Memories Lie are two tremendous moments.
Yeah, I agree. Joe, I have a similar question for you. What's your favorite like bass line or guitar part that you did on the album?
Oh, I don't know.
Because you did some. Joe did most of the lead guitar, but I did some of them.
Yeah, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You did a lot of great guitar parts. You upped your game. You definitely did. I don't know. I think the bass part at the end of I'm So Happy, I really like a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, that was pretty much
I got to stretch out a lot.
That bass part
Yeah.
was what turned that into another part.
Right.
So,
and guitar lead wise, I really love in what do you call Rub Your Eyes.
yeah, that was Joe. He did a
You
good
weren't
job.
so into it.
I wasn't.
But for me, it was like I think that's my favorite guitar part. That and the thing on Settle for Less, I like a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what about Rub Your Eyes was kind of fun because we were experimenting with a bunch of different things, and yeah, we definitely there was more to that solo.
Yeah,
but we ended up doing something different. But I love the solo now. I swear.
That Mark Knopfler thing. Somebody was saying that about Forgive and Forget, and that's you, and that was awesome. That was a great guitar solo.
I am not specifically influenced by the K-Knopf, but I'm glad you feel that way. That's good. Cool. Thank you. And Mike, what's your favorite drum part on the album, or like song for drums?
I just like everything that I did. Everything else is not as good.
Answer the question.
No, man. I think Bill's parts, like that's like a really hard thing to choose. But the harmonica thing on Rub Your Eyes, man.
That took a lot of like musical math to actually figure out.
Yeah. Do you want to get into that for a second? Because I would like to know actually.
Not really, because I'm gonna sound like an idiot because I completely forgot exactly.
Bill, I sound like an idiot every night when I go live. They're very used to it. Please.
You guys are used to this though. I remember just I was coming in to do a call and response piano part for Joe's solo in it, and I have an E harmonica in my car that just randomly I'll just start playing if the keys match to whatever song's on the radio. And for the longest time, in just like every band I've been in, I've been trying to shoehorn a harmonica solo. So I realized that somehow with relative minors and Mixolydian scales or whatever, I got to go back and actually find out, and a lot of reverb. just what my logic was that I could actually use the only harmonica I own could actually fit into this song. I remember going into the studio. We were ready to record a keyboard solo. I go, Vin, I want to try something. And I just stood in front of the mic, just with no instrument in front of me. And
Yeah, I
had
wasn't
Joe
so
play it
sure
back.
about that at first.
Yeah. And then I just pull out a harmonica, and we were like, oh, all right. We did it a couple of times, and end of the day, we were really happy with it. So
Yeah, it worked out. But Mike, I was
harmonica
just
of time. I love it.
wonder what your favorite drum track was.
I didn't answer the question. My favorite track that I did.
Your drum tracks. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this is hard because usually like I don't like listening to myself. I feel like I get like really self-critical and I pick out like all the flaws and stuff like that. But it's like with this album, I like listening to myself. Like I'm actually like proud of what I did, and I haven't really like felt like that a lot before. So it's hard for me to choose. So we inspired Perp Tell to pick up an instrument. That's awesome. That's what that's a big part of why
Glad to
we
hear
do
that.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's like one of the best compliments I think a musician can get. But to answer your question, Vin, I'm gonna say, I mean the rub your eyes thing. I surprised myself with that because I
Yeah.
don't know where that came from.
was
All I
cool.
knew was like that was a weird song, and I sat down and I was like, man, I could just do like another like boom tap with like the eighth note like ride thing. But I was like, nah, let's get weird with it. Let's get weird with it. And
Yeah.
I just sat there and started like doing random shit, and you
Yeah.
guys were like, what is that? Can you keep doing that? And I was like, I don't know. Don't make me think about it too much. It might go away.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was interesting. I'm so happy. I'm so sad. I love. I think both of those songs represent some of the best drumming probably of my life.
I'm so angry next.
The Forgive and Forget, obviously.
That'll be the
was-
next
was-
album.
The difference between your drums from what could go wrong and this, like, there's just...
Oh yeah, I didn't know what the fuck was going
Yeah.
on. That was like our first like real studio effort, I think. The Davies Gray thing, like we did that in like what 2 days?
That was over a week. Yeah, barely.
Yeah, I mean I don't remember.
Yeah,
But we
neither
did
do I.
live recordings, like we did it like all three of us were in the room when we did that. This was like my first experience anyway, being in a recording studio and doing it like the way that like I think most professionals do it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think yeah, between then and now we learned a lot of stuff. I improved as a drummer for sure. In a lot of ways. I went back, for lessons in the interim. I took lessons with actually two different people. And I think that's one of those things where yeah, you never stop as a musician. Like I think the second that you think you're done like learning your instrument or whatever is the second that like, you're kind of
Yeah,
You're
you're
kinda
dead.
just
You're dead in the water.
what?
It's a
Oh my god.
it's a Noel Gallagher song from his new album, so
Alright.
it's been fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All right.
didn't mean to ruin the psychic illusion. I'm Abra from Pokemon, and you're drowsy.
Drowsy. But yeah, man, it was this was just a lot of fun to do. It was hard at certain points. We had there were arguments. I'm not making it sound like it's like kumbaya over here.
Well, let's
or
talk
whatever.
about that for a second, because someone said, "What's your favorite lyric on the album?" And just the answer is "Settle for Less." I think was my favorite because it started as a different idea, and then Mike took a crack at it, and I didn't like it. And
I came back with something that if we had used it, I would already be embarrassed of it.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't care for it, and then I wrote up another draft of it. Like I took another shot, and Mike didn't like that. So now we're at the point where the initial idea is done, Mike's idea is done, my idea is done. So then I just took that walk, and I really fucking thought about it. I gave it a week, and then I took some of Mike's stuff, some of my stuff, some new stuff, and then came up with a unified theme.
Right.
And that we had talked about, that Mike and I had talked about, and found middle ground through conversation, not through fighting with each other,
We spent
not through being like a bitch about it. Like, you know what I mean? Because we could have easily just like gotten angry with each other and stopped talking. Like, oh, you didn't like my lyrics.
And had like the creative difference fall out. But I think we've been around the block a few times. We're more mature than that at this point.
Because we talked about it,
Yeah.
we got lyrics, and they came out good.
I don't think that it was to call it a compromise isn't like the right word, because the place that song is in now lyrically
Is above.
is far more superior, and I mean saying that like honestly objectively is far more superior, just as conceptually
than where it was
than
previously.
where it was at any point prior to that, and like
Yeah.
everybody else outside of this little like this argument we were having agreed with it.
Seems like the message board wants you guys to fight, like physically.
They want us to fight.
Have a fist fight? I challenge you to a duel.
What was the teaser song on Twitter? That's Memento Mori.
It was Memento Mori.
Let's see.
But yeah, going back to the Sell for Less lyrics,
One second.
one thing that really jumped out, and every time that I listen back to the album, I don't know which one of you wrote it, but the "Why Plant the Seed and Not Do the Rest" that like always struck a chord, and it just reminded me of a Get Motivated post on Reddit. So out of all the lyrics from the album, that was the one that like kind of just like popped out, and just thought it was really cool.
Oh, good. I'm glad, man. I mean, there's some of these things are. Mike, what about them ignoring the moons of Uranus lyric
I
suggestion?
told them about that the
Oh,
other
boy.
night. You guys remember that with the moons of Uranus?
Yeah.
And then so what?
Who's going to be the Mike Love of the band?
Well,
Well, there's only one Mike. And then-
Right, I'm not gonna have much choice in the matter, am I?
We're gonna get a fifth member in the next album. They'll just like usurp the entire band, and then
his name will be Dill.
they'll
We just want to be the first band to have a Bill and a Dill in the same band.
Can he be?
I'll be dead. He'll kill me.
Can we have a hype man?
Download it.
Sorry, you know how Slipknot has like hype men? Like, can we get a dick nose?
Yeah, we can
Like,
get
can
a
we
dick
have
nose.
a dick nose on stage?
Sure.
I'm craving a dick nose. Like I'm just
Sure. All right, let's do a couple more questions, and then we'll start wrapping up. But what are your plans for the future? I hope you guys take a long ass nap because you deserve it. Let's all take that, right? So I'll start. I want to continue streaming. Obviously, we're gonna do this bonus song for the vinyl I love the song. It's really good. It's cool, and I think it stands well on its own, but also feels like another Light song. After that, maybe we'll start thinking about some shows. But I don't want to pound the pavement, so to speak. I don't want to be the type of dude that goes out there and does all like local bars. I want to do a couple of those, but I would definitely. Yeah, I'm lazy. I'm a homebody. It's tough to do that stuff.
we're all lazy to a degree.
But touring is also. I get that question a lot about touring. They want us to tour, but like we can't just go out there and tour to like 5 people.
We would have to justify a tour by being able to tell venues like, hey, we're going to be able to sell a bunch of tickets, if we come play there. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is if a lot of people hear this music and like it. So I mean, it looks like the store is up, by the way.
Yeah, the store's up.
So if you guys are buying the music, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to just mention it'll be on Spotify eventually. I don't know when. That's not up to me, sadly. It'll be on all the things. It'll be on YouTube. I'm going to put it song by song and in full album form eventually. And eventually there's going to be a way you can download it for free. But it'll also be on Bandcamp for $5. I originally wanted to make it $1, like I said. But unfortunately the Billboard chart doesn't count $1 sales. So we had to, just total transparency and honesty, we had to raise it to $5. But you can listen to it for free on Bandcamp. And if you don't ever want to buy the album, you don't ever have to. Really. Listen to it, like it, enjoy it. And then eventually, if you want to throw it a couple bucks or whatever, or listen to it on Spotify, it helps. But obviously it helps, and we appreciate it. But $5 is the minimum for the Billboard thing. So
what I just wanted to say was show the music to people that you think would like it. Get it out there. Get it in the ear holes of friends or whatever. That's the best thing you could do for a band, I think. Just make sure they're heard, right?
Yeah, find a way. If that's something that you want to do, I'd prefer that over you buying the album.
Right. That's
essentially.
Yeah.
So just
that's more of the long term benefit to us, right?
Cool.
So, yeah.
Joe, what's your plans for this year?
To keep recording and writing music and raise a baby.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's it.
Well, you get how many different bands would you say you're working with right now, or artists?
At the moment, I'd say 6.
6?
Yeah, in various states of
almost
production.
done
Yeah.
and just starting.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an easy business. It's tough. It's you have to figure out what comes what's going to come next in the next couple of months because it's a small scale operation. But yeah,
Are you available if people want to send you mixes?
absolutely. I
Where-
would
where-
love to mix your music or record your music. So
If you're local. But
Or if
what's
you're local,
what's
sure.
your website?
I have a website, but I don't really update it or use it. It's
So-
Red Room SI.
At Gmail for the
Well, my email, yeah, if that's what you're.
how can
that's a
people?
good way to contact me.
how could-
redroomsi@gmail.com.
Okay, so redroomsi@gmail.com if you want to. If you know,
Don't be surprised when your inbox is full of memes.
yeah.
All right, sorry.
But yeah, no. If you're a musician or if you're in the area or even if you want to, get some work done, he's good. So, sorry about the memes in advance.
Oh, right.
Bill, what are you up to this year?
What am I up to this year?
And musically?
2018.
Because you guys are also in a band called The Seconds.
Yes, we are. We're going to keep playing with that. We're currently recording, trying to finish up our third album, but just weekly coming in, just getting the stress off from work, and just throwing out some ideas, and just trying to do that as much as I can.
Well, me and Bill have gone to like Pennsylvania or various places, and we've just like brought acoustic guitars. We've got like a folder of demos.
Just a plethora,
of like
the whole catalog.
10 to 12 little ideas that we've done together for like the past 12 years or so. So, I mean, maybe one day we'll do something with those.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff.
So, what do you think about Hail to the Thief? I think it's a good one. I like Hail to the Thief. It's not my favorite Radiohead album.
That's the only one I went to go see them live, and it was an amazing show. So,
Who made the album art is a question. I'm gonna say BG made the album art, but there was it's like you get to a point. I'm not sure where if they wanted to have their full name.
I believe they requested not to be
Right.
credited.
So the credit that I'm giving them that I was told to give them is BG, and they did a great job. Thank you, BG.
I saw. Yeah, somebody had mentioned the Facebook.
Good
We
job.
are on Facebook now. We are obviously we're on Twitter, as most of you probably aware by now. We are on Instagram.
I think so.
Did
Sure.
that-
I don't know.
Yes. Or we will be shortly. And
Twitter is
Yes.
the big one for us.
Yeah. So yeah, head on over and smash that MF like button, etc.
Jesus.
And yeah, guys, thanks again.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't think if there's anything else, Vinny from the Stars inspired me to make a walking simulator video game. Yeah, you can use the song if you want. And what direction do you feel Red Vox is going sonically?
It's a great question.
Well, I don't want to go too into detail, but I think part of me wants to do a couple of acoustic things, and also do stuff that you can like move to a little bit, but you don't want to go backwards, right? That was something that Joe told me, which is like, let's not go backwards because we've gone to this point, and I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I mean, I wanted to simplify because this album was difficult and it took a long time, and we experimented with so many different textures and sounds. But the problem for me is I want to continue what we're doing, but maybe I want to do something a little bit more simple next time, slightly more stripped down. But who knows? It could be, you know what? We thought this album was going to be called Settle for Less, and it turned into Another Light. So you never know. You just kind of let the things happen, and I'm not going to try to dictate
I love
direction.
that thing that Stephen King was talking about in his book, The On Writing, where like the stories exist already, but you kind of have to like chip away to like excavate them, kind of a thing. Where like I think like basically I'm saying the album was there, we just kind of had to like do our thing to kind of get it out.
Yeah.
Of like a stone or what have you.
Yeah, it felt like that sometimes. It felt like once the idea happened in the studio or wherever, we had the concept.
Yeah.
It was how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And Joe was a huge facilitator of that.
Mhm.
Me coming up with some lyric, or Mike coming up with a drum part, and then Bill coming up with the keyboard part. All these things kind of, it was like the song existed. How do we get it right?
Right.
But
Some of it, a lot of this album happened, I want to say, very organically, and that includes you know
Yeah.
one of us like hearing a riff like in a dream or something.
Oh yeah, Mike heard "I'm So Sad" in a dream. He what,
right.
what did you hear? You heard dun dun dun.
I heard a very it exists slightly differently from what I had originally heard, but it's there.
When he hummed it to me, it inspired me. And normally like that doesn't happen, but I liked the riff, and I started hearing the rest of it, and then a full song.
Yeah.
But just from Mike's dumb dream, I had dumb dreams too.
I told you, like,
Yeah.
It was just a stupid. Yeah, it was like some weird shit going on in that dream.
Well,
too.
that's why I love writing, and I seriously enjoy the cracking it, so to speak, like figuring out how to like get the song into its full or arranged form.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to add anything?
Well, yeah, just one thing with going forward from this point on, that we mentioned before how during the recording of this album, we just have layers upon, like, if you've listened to everything that was recorded on this album as one track, it would just be a lot. Like,
Yeah.
There's some things with like 6 guitars, 3 drums, 10 keyboard tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we are doing more recently, which I don't want to give too much away, but like the songs are being written more as a 4-piece, and so we are going in knowing what we want before we're recorded. Like, we're doing a lot of live tracking and stuff, and that's the first time that we've been doing stuff like that, and that's really exciting because it's more communicating amongst the 4 of us, which is really cool.
And we all come from similar but different backgrounds too. Like you got to hear Joe's album.
Oh yeah.
I reset. I put that on my Spotify a couple times. If you guys, I'm gonna host that on my Spotify page, on the Red Vox page. Check out the Happy Anarchy Reset album if you guys get a chance to.
It's a long time ago.
It was 10 years ago, no?
Just about, yeah.
It's a fucking great album, and I'm just saying, there's a lot of really good stuff that all 4 of us have done independently and together, and that's important to come up with what we do now.
Classics, though. True.
See, someone listened to it. That's cool. Joe, you have anything else you want to say while we're here, while we wrap up?
Oh, thanks for the fucking amazing thing. Cool. No, I don't have anything to say. But thanks for all the positive energy. This was awesome. Thanks.
Agreed. Thank you for the positive energy, everybody. And yeah, it should be available now. And just keep checking the Twitter, and I'll tell you guys what's going on with the band.
Hey Vin, did In a Dream come from In a Dream?
In a Dream came from In a Dream. Yeah, it did.
What?
Yep, if you could believe it.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks everybody.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
Can I? I'm gonna show myself. If y'all didn't know, I know a number of you know. I see a lot of familiar names here. I'm also on Twitch. Streaming over on my channel on 4 or 5 nights a week, depending on my BMs, how they're going that day. Twitch.tv/jabroni_Mike. I'm also all over social media, and I'm on YouTube. Check me out on YouTube if you feel so inclined to do so. If not,
I know what you want to say. No,
it's good. It's a good time. Come on by. Thank you, Sick. That's all the links to my shit. Thank you, Sick, today. All right. What do you want to do?
Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to say thank you for listening again, and for giving it a chance. Even the fact that you gave some streamer and his music a chance is cool, and I hope you enjoyed at least some of it. And I'll see you streaming tomorrow. And good night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks again.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.